Good evening, everyone. Good evening, guys. Great. So, welcome back to our day 2 of our program FDP, SDP, STTP on Python for AI 2025. So, we'll quickly recap what we have covered so far. Then we'll start the topics for day 2. Okay. So, as part of day 1, we have understood what exactly is Python. Yes. You also understood the history of Python. When Python was actually launched into the market, who is the father of Python? Okay, what is the key influences of Python? The Python design, then the applications of Python. Okay, we also understood the versions of Python, right? And next to these topics, we understood features of Python because these features are actually responsible for keeping Python at top position. Right. So what are the important features that we have discussed, guys? Python is simple. Yes. What makes Python simple? There are 3 factors. Because of these 3 factors, we say Python is simple. Right. So what are they? Very rich set of modules. The first, the first factor. Then the second one is the garbage collector that was taken from Java. And the third one. What is the third one? User-friendly syntaxes. Okay. So by keeping all these factors in mind, we say Python is very simple. Then we also understood why Python is called a freeware language and why it is called open source. Yes. Then we also understood the Python is called as interpreted language. What is meant by interpreted language? Line by line execution. Okay. So each and every line gets executed as part of the interpreted language. Okay. So when we execute the .py file, this .py file gets converted to .pyc. Okay. And this .pyc is called as bytecodes. This file is called as bytecodes file. And this bytecode file will be again converted to zeros and ones. Yes. Once if the code is getting converted to zeros and ones, obviously a machine can understand it, right? Yes. The calculations will be done and we'll get the result. Then we understood Python is a platform independent language. Then Python is a high level language. Python is dynamically typed language. Python is a robust language and Python supports n number of third-party APIs. So all of these key features we have understood as part of D1. And later on, we understood the different IDEs. We have discussed about Anaconda Navigator installation. Okay. So as part of the installation, we have also discussed about Spider. Am I right? Yes. So I hope all of you have installed Anaconda Navigator. And I also assume that you guys are practicing. Okay, you have started your hands-on using Spider. I believe it. Then later on, we move to the first topic, the core topic. It is variables and identifiers. Variables and identifiers. But before that, we also discussed a small topic. It is called as literals. What are literals in Python? Literals are nothing but the values. Literals represents the values. The input values that we pass are nothing but literals. So these literals have to be stored. They have to be represented by some objects. And those objects are called identifiers. They are called identifiers. And for these identifiers, the values might keep on changing across the code. They might vary. Yes. So that is why these identifiers are named as variables. But again, we have drawn a conclusion that all the variables are identifiers. All of these are identifiers. But not all identifiers are variables. Okay. Because we also have the other names. Okay. The other things that are part of identifiers. Anything that helps us to identify will be an identifier. Right. And we also discussed the ground rules. What are the ground rules that we have discussed, guys? Can you name some of the ground rules? And moreover, I want everyone to respond to my questions. Don't sit silent. Okay. If you sit quiet, you are not going to gain anything. You start answering to my question. What are the ground rules that we have discussed for defining a variable? Variables can be a mixture of alphabets, digits, and the special symbol underscore. Okay. Can a variable start with a digit? No. But a variable can start with an alphabet and underscore. Okay. So alphabets means both lowercase and uppercase alphabets. Right. Next to ground rule 2, we have discussed that there are keywords which are called as reserved words in Python, and these keywords cannot be used as variable names. They cannot be used as variable names. Why? Because these keywords, these reserved words, they do have some meaning with respect to the compiler, the language compiler. The keywords hold some meaning. That is why we cannot use the reserved words as variable names. Right? Yes. Then Python is case sensitive, and it is always recommended to define your variable user friendly. Okay, you have to come up with some user friendly variables. Instead of keeping your variable name very lengthy, keep it very concise, crisp, but it should be user friendly. And one more suggestion, always try to keep your variables in lowercase guys. In order to avoid the exceptions, errors, it is always recommended. The best practice is keeping your variable in lowercase. Okay, that doesn't mean we should not use the uppercase characters. We can use, but the best practice will be using only lowercase characters. So I hope it is clear. And we have also discussed the hands-on. The hands-on for variables is also covered, right? So let me proceed to the next topic. And in today's class, we are going to start with a new topic. It is data types. So this data types is one of the fundamental topic. And this is very important topic, guys. A very crucial topic. Okay. In order to understand the next coming topics in the sequence, one topic that is very mandatory to learn and focus is data types. Data types in Python. As we have 14 data types, and it is not possible to cover all these 14 data types in a single class, we have partitioned into 2 classes. Okay. So we are going to learn data types in 2 classes. right? So today we'll be learning the first category data types, followed by the next class. Right. So let us start with the data types. What is the purpose of data types? What makes us to use data types in Python is the purpose of data types is exactly they help us to allocate sufficient amount of memory. Okay, enough amount of memory will be allocated by whom? By the data type. Okay, so whenever you are going to store any value, okay, upon the data type, enough amount of memory gets allocated. Where? In the main memory of your system. So that makes the purpose of data types in Python. That is why we use data types. And in Python, we have 14 data types, guys. There are 14 data types. What are the 14 data types? These 14 data types are again categorized into 6 categories. They are fundamental category, sequence category, list category, set category, dict category, non-type category. Okay, so these are the 6 different categories of data types which contain the 14 data types. Together 14. So we'll understand what is the purpose of each and every category data types. Right. So when it comes to fundamental category data types, we have int, float, bool, and complex. Okay, I repeat, int, float, bool, and complex are part of fundamental category data types. Okay, then in sequence category data types, we have str, bytes, bytary, and range. And range. Perfect. Next to sequence category data types, we have list category data types, in which we have list and tuple. We have list and tuple. Then under set category data types, we have set and frozen set. Set and frozen set. Then under dict category data types, we have dict. And finally, under none type, we have only one single data type, it is none. It is none. So if you add all these, you'll get 14 data types in total. So we'll be starting from fundamental category data types. We'll be understanding the purpose of it. Then we'll deep dive into each and every data type base. We'll be understanding the purpose of it. Then the important points related to the data type, followed by hands-on. So this will be the flow. Right? Yes. So let me start with fundamental category data types. What is the purpose of fundamental category data types? Any idea? Do you guys have any idea what is the purpose of using fundamental category data types? Is they help us to store single values. Okay. So if you just want to store a single value, you can go and use fundamental category data types. Yes. What are the different types of fundamental category data types we have? We have int, float, bool, and complex. Okay. So even if you observe yesterday, when I'm trying to store a value 10 in a variable, how many values am I trying to store here? It's one value. The size is 1. To store single values, we use fundamental category data types. That is the purpose of fundamental category data types. Yes. Let me start with int data type. So what is the purpose of int data type? Int is a predefined class. What is a class? We'll discuss slowly and steadily we'll go together. Okay. So int is a predefined class and it is part of fundamental category data type. What is the purpose of int? Int helps us to store integer values. Okay. If you have the integer numbers, okay, without decimal values. So in order to store such kind of values, we use int type. We use int data type. Then with int data type, we can store different values. What are the different types of values we can store? We can also try to store binary number system values, octal numbers, hexadecimal numbers as well. So that is possible only using int data type. This is important, guys. No other data type will actually help us to store, the different types of numbers. No, except int. Okay. So let me go back to Spider and let us focus on the Handson. Right? Yes. So what exactly are we doing here, guys? In line number 135. I'm trying to store value 19. Okay. So I'm going to store 19 in A. That is what we are doing. So will this line of code execute? Yes, it will execute because I'm not against the rules of variables. Okay, I'm obeying the rules of variables. So this will execute. When I try to execute this, 19 is an number. Does it contain any decimal values? No. So if you see, which type was being used to store 19? Int type. Exactly. Int type is being used to store 19 in A. Then we have print function. Again, what is the function? Function is a block of code which helps us for reusability, code reusability. We have the concept of functions, guys. Okay, we'll be understanding functions as well. Okay, so this is a trick that I'm going to provide here. When I say function, it should contain parenthesis. What is parenthesis? So these regular braces is called parenthesis. These are called parenthesis. Okay. So print is a function which helps us to print the output to the console. So you'll see the output here in this area. Okay. So let me execute the line. Print of A. What am I passing? I'm passing A and I want to print the value that is present inside A. So what will be the output, guys? Will it print A as output? No. It will print me 19. 19 will be returned as output. Making sense? Print function will help us to print the output to the console. Then next to print function, I'm coming up with one more function. What is this function called? Type function. What is the purpose of type function? Type function will return the data type. The associated data type with that particular variable, the particular object will be returned as output. So what will be the output for line number 139? What will be the output for line number 139? Int. Int will be given as output. See. Why? Type is a function. Type is a function which returns the data type. Okay. So what is the data type that is associated with A? It is int. Simple. Okay. Just memorize what does that particular function does. You have to make a note of it. Print function will print the output to the console. Type function will return the data type. Right. Let us go to the next example. Line number 141. NEUT is equals to 999. So what kind of value is 999? Is it an integer? Yes, it is an integer. It is an integer. Do you observe any decimal values? No, I don't see any decimal values. So will line number 141 execute? Or will it throw me any exception? It will execute. It will execute. And the data type that will be returned is int. So int type will be used to store 999. And if you see the size is 1, what is the purpose of int? Int helps us to store only single values. But what kind of values are they have to be? They should be integers without decimal values. So obviously int type will be used. Making sense? Yes. Line number 143. What will be the output? For line number 143, print of NEUT will return me what? I want everyone to be engaged with me. Keep on responding to my questions. Print of NEUT will print 999 because NEUT stores 999. Good. Keep going. Type of NEUT. Type is a function which returns the data type. So type of NEUT will return me int as output. See. Good, good. Then let us learn one more function. It is ID function. ID. ID is a function in Python which helps us to return the address. What do you mean by address? Address is nothing but the location, guys. Address represents location. So within the memory, the objects have to be stored at a particular address. There should be a location. Okay. So in order to fetch the location of the object, we use a function called ID. We use a function called ID. So the purpose of ID function is to return the address, the location in the main memory. Okay. So when I say address of the object, it will return me the address of NEUT in the memory. And you cannot, predict this number. No. It can store at different addresses. Okay. So in my system, it has stored the particular object NEUT at this address. But in your system, the address might change. Yes, it obviously will change. Okay. Right. So I hope the concept with int is very clear. Purpose of int is to store single values, and what should be those values? Integers without decimals. Done. Let us go to the next type under fundamental category. What is the next type? It is float. It is float. Right. So let us understand float data type. Float is also a predefined class. Float is also one of the predefined class and it is treated as fundamental category data type. Yes. The purpose of float is to store floating values. It means the values with decimals. So if your value contain decimal values, okay, if there are decimal values in your number, then which type will be used? Float data type will be used. So whenever I want to store floating point numbers, real constant values, then obviously float type will be used, guys. Okay, so as discussed, only int data type helps us to store binary or octal or even hexadecimal number values, but float does not support to store these different numbers, different types of number systems. No. Okay, so let us talk about a few examples that we have with respect to float. $153. What is the value that we are storing in the memory? Can you make it out? 34.99. The value contains decimals. The value contains decimals. Yes. So when I try to store 34.99 in A, obviously the type will be changed because no more int type will be used. It uses float. Float is the data type that will be used to store 34.99. Yep. Then print of A comma type of A. Hold on. Let me scroll up. Earlier, we have just printed a single value. Yes. In line number 143, if you observe, I have used the print function to print only the object, the value that is present in the object, the variable. But later on, in line number 154, I see, there are two values inside print. So what does it mean? It means you can also pass n number of values for printing. It prints me A initially, then type of A next to it. So what is the value that we have in A? 34.99. So initially value present in A gets printed, then next to it type of A will be returned as output. So can you guess the output for line number 154 together? 34.99. Then next to it you'll observe float as output. See. Simple, guys. Just focus on the syntaxes. However, whatever we are discussing here, I just used different types of examples to cover all the points. We came up with multiple examples covering all the basics. Yes. So print of A comma type of E have written me 34.99 and float. Done. Next to it, what am I doing? Line number 156. I see it's not a number. Am I right? It is 43. Next to it, we have E, then -2. This is in the form of Montesa E format, which is actually written as 43 into 10 raised to the power -2. Excuse me. So this is actually written as 43 into 10 raised to the power -2. What is that? What does that mean? 43 divided by 100, which means 0.43, which means 0.43. Okay, so is this a decimal number, a floating number? Yes. So this floating number I'm going to store in an object in a variable NEUT. Will it execute? Yes, it will execute, and it uses float data type to store this value, to store this floating number. So let me do it, guys. Focus. I'm going to execute line number 156. So you see, the value is 0.43. What is the type? Float. What is the size of the value? It is just 1. It is just a single value. Then print of NUT comma type of NUT will return me 0.43 comma type of NUT, nothing but float. But it may also return in the Montesa E format. See. So it has written me 0.43 and the type of NUT says float. Fine. Let us also understand line number 159. What do we have in line number 159? You see a big number. It's not actually a big number. It is very small number. It is, if you observe here, we have 0.00000 so on. And I have a value. Even if it is 0, then obviously it is a 0, right? So this is a number. Okay, it's a floating number. It's a floating point number. And can I store it in A? Yes, you can. Irrespective of the number of decimals you have, you can do it. You can store it. So let me do it, guys. Float data type will be used. And what is the value? 4e power minus 44. What does that mean? 4 into 10 raised to the power minus 44. So if you count in total, you'll observe 44 places next to the 0. 43, yes. And even I am able to store it in Python using float data type. And when I say print of A comma type of A, this will return me the value that is present in A and the type will be float. 4e power minus 44, then the value is float. Done. Simple. The purpose of float is very clear. To store decimal numbers, floating numbers, right? Let us go to the next type under fundamental category data types. What do we have next to it? We have bool. What is the next type? Bool. What exactly is bool? Bool is a predefined class and it is also treated as fundamental data type. What is the purpose of bool? Bool help us to store logical values. What are the logical values that we have? True, false. True and false are considered as logical values in Python. They are considered as logical values in Python. And in order to store these logical values, we use bool type. We use bool data type. And this is very important, guys. Internally, the value of true is 1. The value of true is 1. What is the value for false? False is 0. So true takes 1, false takes 0. You have to memorize these two. Why? Because sometimes when we are building our logic, we may use these values. Yes, we may use these values. So always memorize these values. Don't get confused. Again, if you want me to give any trick, yes. Alphabetically, which comes first? F. Then next to F, we'll have T. Am I right? Between F and T, alphabetically F comes first, then T. In the same way, between 0 and 1, what is the small value? 0. What is the other value that we have next to 0? 1. So that is how you can memorize False takes 0. False is internally considered as 0. True is considered as 1. Okay. Yes. Now, let us also focus on a few examples related to bool. What am I doing in line number 166? I want your responses. What are we doing in line number 166? Line number 166. I'm storing a logical value true. Again, this is very important. True if it is mentioned in proper case. If true is mentioned in proper case, only then it is true. Only if it is mentioned in the same case, only then it is considered as true. What if I change the case? This is not true in Python. No. Only this is true in Python. Python is case sensitive. Memorize, okay? You have to keep this point in your mind. Python is case sensitive. You cannot change the case. True which is in proper case, which means T in uppercase, rest of the characters in lowercase, only then it is called a logical value. Or we also understood true is a keyword, right? Yes. So I'm going to store true in A. So which data type will be used to store true? Which data type will be used? Bool type. See, bool data type is what we use to store the value true. Then next to it, I'm going to print A. Then along with A, I also want to print type of A. So when you say type of A, obviously A holds true. True gets printed. Type of A will return me bool. Type of A will return me bool. Making sense? Then next to it, I'm going to store false value. Okay, I'm going to store false value in NEUT. So will this execute? Line number 169. Guys, will line number 169 execute or not? Yes, it will execute. Right. So bool type will be used for storing false in NEUT. See, false is what we have stored in NEUT. What type has been used? Bool data type was being used. So when I say print of NEUT comma type of NEUT, this will return me false. Then type of NEUT will be bool. Done. False and the output is bool. Right. One last exercise regarding bool data type. Print of A plus NEUT. A plus NEUT. What is A? A is nothing but true. What is NEUT? NEUT stores false. So what you are trying to do here, I'm trying to add two different objects. What are the objects? A and NEUT. So that means indirectly we are adding the values that are present in these two objects. What are the objects? What are the values that you see in A and NEUT? True and false. So what will be the output, guys? Simple. What is the value for true? It is 1. For false, it is 0. So 1 plus 0 will be 1. 1 plus 0. It will be 1. So in this way, when we are building our logics, okay, when the code gets complex, okay, we keep our logics, right? So as part of the logics, we use these Bool values, right? So obviously the output will be 1. So let me execute this. I'm executing line of 172. Focus on the console. You'll observe the output as 1. See, the output will be 1. Done? Yes. Let us go to the next type. The last data type in fundamental category data types. It is complex. What do you mean by complex? Complex refers to complex numbers, guys. Okay. And don't tell me that you are not aware of complex. For sure, our schooling is not possible without learning complex numbers. If I'm not mistaken, you might be from any, no, across the world, from wherever you are, you might have the complex numbers as part of your mathematics, school mathematics. So what exactly the complex data type does? The purpose of complex type is to store complex numbers, complex values. Yes. If you want to store any complex value, we use complex data type. Complex data type will be used for storing complex numbers. Making sense? The format for complex values is a plus bj or a minus bj, where a is our real part. Where a is our real part. What is b? B is imaginary part. What is j? J represents square root. Able to recollect? You guys are able to recollect? As part of mathematics, we have the complex numbers, right? Yes. So which is nothing but combination of real part and imaginary part. Okay, it can take any of these formats, a plus bj or a minus bj. Okay, then what if I want to get only the real part from the complex number? If I want to extract only the real part, what I have to do? There is an attribute called real. There is an attribute called real. So when you use this real attribute on the complex data type, okay, on the complex object, it will return me only A. What if you want the imaginary part? If you want the imaginary part from the complex number, you can use an attribute called imag. Okay. And this is something important. Internally, both real and imaginary parts, they are treated as float values. Okay. Whatever might be the value that you have as part of the format, a plus bj or a minus bj, but internally these real and imaginary these parts are treated as float. That means decimal values. Making sense? If you don't understand, that's okay. Let us do hands-on so that you'll be clear. Okay. Even though if you are not clear, that's fine. Let us go back to the hands-on part. Because when you work out on examples, your concepts will be clear, guys. See, what am I doing? I'm going to store a value. But what kind of value it is? I see it's not a general, a number. It is a complex value. It is a complex value. Right? So where I see I have real part and imaginary part as well. both real and imaginary parts, the combination is a complex number. So is it as per the format? Yes. A plus bj accepted. So when you are trying to store 2 plus 3j in A, obviously the complex data type will be used. See, the complex type will be used to store a complex value 2 plus 3j. Done. Done. Next to it, print of A comma type of A. So that means it will print me A. What do we have in A? Obviously, it's a complex number. 2 plus 3j will be printed. Along with A, type of A will be returned. So what will be the data type, guys? What will be the data type? Complex. Good. The data type will be complex. And why am I asking you to work on spider initially is, even though if you don't use type function, okay, you can get the information from the variable explorer. But if you are working on any other IDEs, no other IDE will have a pane like variable explorer. There is no pane called variable explorer in any other IDEs apart from spider. Okay, so obviously I suggest for beginners the best IDE is spider. The best IDE that you have to go with is spider. Anyways, let's continue. Let's come back. 2 minus 3j. Is it accepted? Yes, it is in the form of A minus bj. So this is also accepted. Fine, let me store 2 minus 3j in C. Done? Yes, done. C is a new variable coming in. The type is complex data type to store a complex number. Clear? See? Then print of C comma type of C will return me 2 minus 3j and complex. Done. Done. Now, let me go to the next example. So what do you say? Is it in the format of A plus bj or A minus bj? Yes, it is in the form of A minus bj, where A value is minus 2.5. Right? Yes, it can be. So even this is also a complex number. So when I try to store it in D, will it execute? Yes, it will execute. The type that is used is complex and the size is 1. So this entire number is one complex number. Okay, don't assume that we have 3 different numbers or 2 different numbers. No, it's only a single complex number is what we are storing in. Done. Then print of D comma type of D will print me the value present in D, and type of D is obviously complex. Clear? Now let us understand the real and imag attributes. For that, I am taking one more complex number, 2 plus 3j. What it is? 2 plus 3j. So 2 plus 3j is a complex number. Yes. So can I store it in a variable object NEUT? So it uses complex data type for storing 2 plus 3j. Done. When you say print of NEUT and type of NEUT, it will print 2 plus 3j along with complex. Yes. Now comes how we have to extract the real part and the imaginary part from a complex number. From a complex number, how to extract real part and the imaginary part is we have attributes. What are attributes again? Guys, whatever the technical terms that we are using, okay, slowly, steadily we will be understanding. You cannot, no, build your home in one single day. Even kings cannot build their empire in single day, right? In the same way, we cannot learn the entire technical terms in one single day. As we move on, you'll be understanding all of them slowly and steadily, right? So, real and imag are two attributes which help us to extract the imaginary number, the real number, and the imaginary part from the complex value. Okay. So when I say NUT, what is NUT? NUT is my variable, my object in which I have stored my complex number. So this complex number is present in NUT. So when I say NUT dot real, this will extract me only the complex number. Can you guess what will be the output for line number 193? What will be the output for 193, guys? Perfect. It will be 2.0. It will not be 2. It will not be 2. It will be 2.0. That is what I am discussing earlier. What will be the output for line number 194? 3.0. Guys, the point here we have discussed internally both the real and imaginary parts are treated as float. Even though if you see them as integers, but still internally, okay, in the back end, the real part and the imaginary part within the complex number, they are treated as float values. What do you mean by float? They should be represented in decimals. So you will get the output as 2.0 and 3.0. This is something you have to focus on. Okay, don't just tell whatever the number that you see here. Okay, right. So this marks the end of complex type, which means we have successfully completed fundamental category data types. Now let us go to the next category data types. They are sequence category data types. What is the next category data type? Sequence category. Fundamental category data types help us to store only a single value. But a sequence category data type help us to store sequence of values. What does it mean? You can store multiple values, multiple. Using fundamental data types, we are able to store only one value. Yes. But using the sequence category data types, that means str, bytes, byte array, range. Okay. By using these data types, you can store sequence of values. Multiple values is what you can store. Yes. So let me start with the first type under sequence category. It is str. And moreover, many of students, they pronounce it as string. Guys, there is no data type in Python called as string. It is str. It is str. Right. So let us discuss about str. What is str? Str is again a predefined class. It is treated as sequence data type. What is the purpose of str data type? It helps us to store sequence of characters. If I want to store our organization name, Nextera Unitech, do I have sequence of characters? Yes, I have sequence of characters. When I want to store sequence of characters, okay, then obviously I can go and use, it uses str type. For storing sequence of characters, it uses str type. But this data can be of two types. Okay, whatever we are trying to store, it can be of two types of string data. It can be single line string data or multi-line string data. What is this single line string data and what is this multi-line string data? Whatever the data that you are representing, the string data, if you are able to represent in a single line, that becomes single line string data and it will be enclosed with single quotations or double quotations. I repeat, a single line string data will be enclosed with single quotations or double quotations. Anything. Either you can use single quotations or double quotations. But coming to multi-line string data, if you take multi-line string data, the data will be enclosed with triple single or triple double. Triple single or triple double quotations is what we have to use for multi-line string data. So that makes the difference between single line and multi-line string data. Okay, so very simple. Let us also work out on some examples related to str. Yes, the same information is what you'll observe here. What am I doing in line number 210? 210. I'm trying to store sequence of characters. Am I trying to store sequence of characters? Yes. If you see, I'm going to store Abdul Kalam. Abdul Kalam is my data and I want to store it. How did I enclose this sequence of characters? Within single quotations. If you observe, I just use single quotations. So this will be an example for single line string data. So that means I want to store Abdul Kalam in a variable, in an object called S. Okay. So obviously which type will be used? As you see, the characters are enclosed in single quotations. For sure, str type will be used. Str type will be used for storing Abdul Kalam. And this is an example of single line string data. It is an example of single line string data. Right. When I say print of S comma type of S, it will return me Abdul Kalam. Next to it, it will also return me. What it is going to return me, guys? Type. What is the type for S? str. Abdul Kalam and str will be written as output. Good. Right. In the same way, respond for line number 213. Will line number 213 execute or not? Will line number 213 execute? Yes, it will execute. Right. Even though I can store only a single character. See, what is the purpose of sequence category data types? They help us to store sequence, multiple sequence of characters. If not, can I store only a single character? Yes, I do. I can store, right? So I'm storing P, which is enclosed in double quotations. So obviously str type will be used for storing P in S. See, if you observe the size is 1, only one character. And when you say print of S comma type of S, it will return me P comma str. Done? Perfect. Can you respond for the next line? NEUT is equals to Python is an OOP language. Oops language. Two one six. Yes. Even I can store a sequence of characters. This is a sentence. Still, can I store it? Yes, I can. So since I am able to keep it in single quotations, str type will be used for storing it in NEUT. See? But what is the size? It is not 1. I see the size of NEUT is 21, guys. It is 21. Why it is 21? Any idea? Why it is 21? Each and every character takes size 1. Size 1. 1. So on. Okay. Let me count then. Let us check whether it will return me 21 or not. Python has 6. Is has 2 characters. 6 plus 2 is 8. 8 plus 2 is 10. 10 plus 3 is 13. 13 plus 3 is, 13 plus 4 is 17. But I see 21. How come? It also counts spaces. Space also gets counted. And what is the size for space? Same. Same. It is 1. The same space size of 1 will be used. So in total you have 4 spaces. 17 plus 4 will be 21. 17 plus 4 will be 21. So that is why you see the size of NEUT is 21. Making sense? Right. So when I say print of NEUT comma type of NEUT, this will print me this entire sentence. The type will be str. Simple. This is not a multi-line string data. This is also a single line string data only. See, single line means you'll be using only single quotations or double quotations. If it is a multi-line string data, we'll use triple single or triple double quotations. You'll observe in this phase. Multiple lines. See, this is an example of multi-line string data. Line number 234 till 237. You observe here what we are doing. I kept my string, the data in 4 lines. Okay. And this data is enclosed in double quotations, triple double quotations. So this will be an example for multi-line string data. Okay. Since it is enclosed in triple double quotations, what type will be used for storing this entire address in ADDR1? str type will be used. See. And if you have time, yes, you can also count whether it is returning as 90 or not. Yes, you can do it. But the only thing that you have to do is count each and every character, including special symbols, spaces, and all. All. Right? Good. When I say print of ADDR1, comma type of ADDR1, it will return me the entire multi-line string data and the type will be str. The type will be str. Fine. 241. Is it an example of single line string data or multi-line string data? Guys, is 241 an example of single line or multi-line? Even 241 is an example of single line only. It is an example of single line, but I am using triple double quotations. Will it execute? Yes, it will execute. See. So what is your interpretation from this? For single line string data, you can use single quotations or double quotations, or you can also use triple single or triple double quotations. Yes, all the different types are possible for single line string data. But for multi-line string data, it only accepts triple double or triple single quotations. Apart from these, you cannot have anything else. Okay, right. Now let us talk about the operations that we can do on str data. But before that, I want you guys to be aware of how the memory management of str data look like. Okay, so this is an image which helps us to understand the memory management of str type. So if you see here, I'm going to store Python in S. I'm storing Python in S. Fine. How many characters do we have in Python? 6. There are in total 6 characters. So each and every character will have a number. It will be represented with a number, and that number is called index number. You see, this is called index number. And in Python, indexing by default starts from 0. Default in Python, the indexing starts from 0. So that is the reason P takes index 0, Y takes 1, so on, N takes index value 5. But only if you traverse along left to right. This is called positive indexing. This is called positive indexing. What if I travel in the reverse direction? This way. Right to left. If I traverse in the reverse direction, the indexing will be negative indexing, guys. The indexing will be negative. So it does not start with 0. It directly starts with -1 because negative indexing, right? -1, -2, so on, -6. So if you understand the concept of indexing, because the same process will be used for the rest of different types of data as well. Okay, so when you travel in left to right manner, you'll observe positive indexing. In the reverse opposite manner, right to left, you'll observe negative indexing. In case of positive indexing, by default the number starts from 0. In case of negative indexing, the number starts from -1. Okay, now let us understand what exactly is indexing. Because if you understand indexing, you'll understand this entire concept. What is indexing? Indexing is nothing but, obtaining a single value. Whenever you want a single value or a single character from your data, if you want only a single value, that is called indexing. That is called indexing. And the syntax for indexing is the str object, whatever might be the object of index. It is written as, what is this? Object, which contains the data. Within the square braces, you have to pass the index number. So this will be the syntax for indexing. Right? Indexing can be either positive or negative. Yes. Indexing can be either positive or negative. When do you have positive values? When you travel in this direction. Left to right. If you go in the reverse direction, you'll observe negative indexing, guys. Very important. Positive, negative indexing. Right. So if the index is valid, whatever the index value that you are providing, if it is valid, it will return you the output. The character will be returned. The value will be returned. What if the index is invalid? You will get an exception called index error. It will throw us an exception called index error. So let me try it on an example. So if you see here, what am I doing? I kept it as NEUT is equals to Python. So that means I'm going to store Python in NEUT. Right? Yes. So let me execute this. What type will be used? str type will be used for storing Python. And if you observe, all the characters in Python are in uppercase. They are in uppercase. Right? Print of NEUT comma 3. So print is a function which helps us to return the output to the console. But apart from print, I'm using the concept of indexing. What is the syntax for indexing? Object of index number. Object of index number. Now let us understand. As this is the first example, I'll be very slow because if you understand this part, you can answer any question, guys. Any question can be answered. Right. So let me go in the right direction, left to right. Indexing starts with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. In the reverse direction, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and -6. Positive, negative. Done. What I'm saying, what is the value that I want to get? I want to have H. I want to return H as my output. So I can keep it as NEUT of 3. What does 3 represents? 3 represents the index of H. Index of H. So what will be the output for line number 257? The output will be H. What is the alternative way in order to get H as my output? If I want the same H as output, instead of keeping 3, can I also keep it as -3? Can I keep it as -3? Yes. If I say NEUT of -3, will I get H? Yes, I'll get H. Even if it is 3 or -3, irrespective of the direction, both of them they represent H. What is the output for line number 258? 258. NEUT of -2. What is the character that we have at -2? O. So the output for line number 258 will be O. Good. In the same way, tell me the output for the next line, 259. NAUT of 12. First of all, do you have index 12 in Python? No. There is no index 12. So when the index is invalid, it will return as exception. So this will be an exception. So let me execute all the lines one by one. So for line number 257, the output should be H. Done. For 258, it should be O. Done. For 259, it should return as an index error. Yes. Exactly, guys. Good. I hope indexing is very clear. Because if you understand this concept of indexing, the same can be applied for other data types as well. The other data type objects as well. Let us go to the next topic. The next operation that we have is slicing. What is the next operation? It is slicing. What is slicing? Slicing is very simple. Slicing means obtaining a range of characters or substring from the main string is called slicing. Indexing means obtaining single character. Yes. Slicing means obtaining n characters. A range of characters is called slicing. That's it. Yes, that's it. Indexing means obtaining only single character, guys. Slicing means obtaining range of characters. Okay. For this slicing, there are 5 different syntaxes. Okay. We will be understanding all the different types of syntaxes. And we also have the hands-on part for each and every syntax. So focus. What does the syntax one say? Syntax one says about, it tells that object followed by begin index, colon, end index. Okay. So in the syntax one, you have to come up with 2 values. What are the 2 values? One is begin index and the other one is end index. So this will actually return as the character from the begin index to end index minus 1. Okay. Till end index minus 1, the characters will be returned, but with a condition. The begin index should always be less than end index. The begin index should always be less than end index. What if this condition is not met? It will not return me any output. Simple. It doesn't return me any output. That is what syntax one tells us. Okay. So let me use some examples. The same Python is what I'm taking. Python. And the numbers 1, 2, sorry, my bad. It is 0, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The reverse direction -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and -6. So, what is the output that you're going to get for line number 271? First of all, what is the begin index? 1. What is the end index? 4. So, it starts from the begin index values. That means from here. Till where it is going to return is till end index minus 1. End index is 4. 4 minus 1 is 3. So that means it will return Y, T and H. The output will be Y, T, H. Am I right or wrong? What will be the output for line number 271? Y, T, H. Yes. In the same way, tell me the output for line number 272. Give a try. Just give a try, guys. Tell me the output for line number 272. Yes. It starts with 0. Where it should end? 6 minus 1. That means 5. So that means entire Python. I'll get Python. Good. Good. I want the output for line number 273. 4:2. What will be the output for line number 273? The begin index is 4. Okay. Then end index is 2. Hold on. I have to start at 4. How can I come back? Okay. The condition that we have is not getting satisfied. Begin index is less than end index? No. It is not getting satisfied. So that means no output. There is no output. Very good. 274 minus 6 colon minus 4. Is the condition met? Yes. Guys, in case of negative values, very higher value will be small compared to the smaller value. Okay, minus 6 is less than minus 4. Don't get confused. So the condition is met. What is minus 6? P. Then it has to stop at end index minus 1. Minus 4 minus 1 is minus 5. That means it returns P. It will also return Y. Apart from Py, can you expect anything else? No. Good. It will return only Py as output. So now I'll go and cross verify my results one by one. 273. What is output? YTH? Yes. Okay, I have to update the string. I mean the value. So it is YTH. The next line, the output is Python. In the next line, you'll not get any output. Yes, there is no output. And in the final line, you'll see the output as PY. Good guys, good going. Keep it up. Perfect. In the same way, let us go and understand syntax 2. Within syntax 2, what do you observe? I see only begin index. There is no end index. So this syntax tells us it returns the range of characters from the begin index till the last character, because there is no end index. By default, it goes till the last character. Okay? Yes. So I'm using same Python. The same word is being used time again to understand the different types of syntaxes only. Okay? Right. So you only observe the begin index here in line number 281. Can you tell me what will be the output for line number 281? It starts at index 2. What is index 2? Is it Y? No. What is index 2? Come on, guys. One, two, three, four, five. Minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, minus 6. So what will be the output? It starts at index 2. So it has to Return all the characters till the last character. So the output will be THON. Good. In the same way for line number 282. For the next line. For the next line. It cannot be T. Again, see, if the same line of code, if you see like this, NEUT of 2, then the output will be T. But it is not only 2, 2 colon. What does that mean? There is no end index. This is indexing, this is slicing. That is what, when I add just the colon part, it became slicing. Right? So for 282, you'll get entire Python. Good. For 283, what about line number 283? I want everyone to give a try. So this will return me THON and the next line will return me Python. What about line number 283, guys? What is minus 2? Minus 2 is O. Good. The output will be ON. Minus 2 minus 1, that's it. See, it just goes in the order, that's it. I hope it is making sense. Right? Let us go to the next syntax. Syntax 3. Earlier in syntax 2, we had begin index and there is no end index. But here, there is no begin index, but we have end index. So what does this syntax tell? The syntax says that by default, the begin index will be 0, guys. Even though if you don't have any begin index, it will be 0. Okay. Then it starts from the begin index, that is nothing but 0, till end index minus 1. So that means whatever the end index that you have, prior to it, the sequence will be returned, is what it is telling us. So I'm taking the same example. I'm storing Python. So this is what we have to the str data. Now I'm performing slicing on it. :4. So this is part of syntax 3. Yes. So what does that mean? Till 4? No, till 3. Because end index is 4. End index minus 1 is 3. So that means PYTH should be given as output. Very good. PYTH will be returned as output. See? Right. In the next case, what will be the output for line number 292? :-4. :-4. 292. For 292, the output will be PY. Exactly. Why PY? Can you also justify your answer? Because what is end index? -4. What is -4? T. So it should stop the sequence at end index -1. So -4 minus 1 means -5. So till here the sequence should stop. It starts with P, then it returns Y and it stops. So the output should be PY. Let me cross check. That's it. Perfect. See, that is what, if you understand the syntax, you can solve any question. Okay. How complex might be the question, still we can solve it. if you understand the syntax. If you don't understand the syntax, there is no way of even understanding the basic one, right? Yes. So let me go to the next syntax. I'll go to the next syntax. It is syntax 4, where you see no start index, no end index. There is no start index, there is no end index. Okay, right. So what does that mean? It means to return the entire object as it is. When you don't specify any begin index and end index, the PVM takes the initial value as 0 and the end index will be taken as the last character. So when you say S is equals to Python, we are storing Python in S. Done. So when I say S of colon, I did not specify begin and end indexes. No, I did not specify. So that means it returns me Python as it is. No, it doesn't say no output. No. The output will be Python as it is. Yes. Now let us talk about syntax 5, because this is something very important. In syntax 5, you'll have different rules. 5 different rules. Okay. So within syntax 5, you'll also observe begin index, end index, and step. Let me remove all these. Yes. So you'll observe begin index, end index, and step. All of them. Okay. Now focus. What do you have? You'll be provided with begin index. You'll also be provided with end index and the step. What is the purpose of the step? To maintain the interval. To maintain the interval. Right. So what does rule 1 says? We are providing begin index and end index. Yes. So the rule says these values can be either positive or negative. Obviously, index can be positive or negative. And if the step value is positive, if this value is positive, then we consider the elements from begin index to end index minus 1 in the forward direction. So if this value is positive, okay, then we go in the forward direction of that str data object. Making sense? With a given condition. The begin index should be always less than end index. What if the step value is negative? We go in the reverse direction. When you go in the reverse direction, your begin index will be greater than end index. Quite opposite to rule number 3. I mean rule number 2. 3 is opposite to rule number 2. Fine. When we are getting the elements in the forward direction, if the end index is 0, okay, when you are going in the forward direction, if the end index is 0, we never get any output. Why? Because we cannot have any element less than 0, right? Yes. In the same way, when you go in the backward direction, okay, when we go in the backward direction, when the step size is negative, right? So if the end index is minus 1, even here also we will not get any output. Let us understand all these rules one by one. We have the examples, and I have maintained this index values for the entire Python here. Okay. So I'm taking Python, I'm using Python again. But if you observe, I'm going with syntax 5. In line number 324, do you observe the values like begin, end, and step? Yes. 0 represents begin. 6 represents end. 2 represents step. So it has to begin at 0. It has to end at 6. What is 6? I don't have 6. 6 represents end index. 6 minus 1 is 5. That means it will end at n. But what is the step size? It is not 1, it is 2. So it starts with P. After that, to this value, to the index value 0, an increment of 2 will be done and it will go to T. It will not return Y, guys. It will return me T. Next to it, it will return me O. Then, do you have 6? No. So what will be the output? For line number 324, what will be the output? PTO. The output will be PTO, not PO or PH. No. The output will be PTO. How come PTO? I hope you are clear on it. See, it starts with 0. What is 0? P. 0 plus 2. It's not 0 plus 1. Step is 2. 2 gets added to the start value. 0 plus 2 is 2. What is the value, the character that we have at index 2? T. How come we'll have Y? Y will not be given as output. Then to this 2, again 2 will be added. 2 plus 2 will be 4. PTO will be written as output. Give me the answer for line number 325. It starts at 2. Then the increment is only 1. So 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. But should 5 be included? No. The end index minus 1. 5 minus 1 is 4. So the output will be THO. THO will be written as output. Good. Then let me also execute complete of. Answer me line number 326. What will be the output for line number 326? Minus 6, which means T plus 2 means minus 4. But where it has to stop? It has to stop at minus 3 itself. So the output will be PT. Exactly. The output will be PT only. Not PTO. No. The output will be PT. Tell me the output for line number 327. Good. First of all, you have to understand this end index. End index minus 1 is our last value. Every time, remember that. Colon minus 3. What will be the output, guys? So as I did not pass any start and stop, it considers the entire data Python, but the step will be used as 3. So P will be returned, then H will be returned. Am I right? Yes. So the output for line number 327 will be PH. Clear? Now, a few more examples. I'm taking Python. Then 4 one reverse direction. Negative step indicates you are traveling in the reverse direction. What is for O? What is for O? Then 4 minus 1, 3. 3 minus 1, 2. So where it has to stop? End index minus 1, right? See, if you observe the rules, it has to stop at end index plus 1. As you are traveling in the reverse direction, it will stop at end index minus plus 1. So what is the end index that you observe here? 1. What is 1 plus 1? 2. So it has to stop at 2. What will be the output? OHT will be written as output. Perfect. OHT. Just give a try for line number 331. Again, minus 1. Step is minus 1. That means in the reverse direction, starting at minus 2. That means O. What is the end index? Minus 1. It has to end at minus 1, minus 5 plus 1, which means minus 4. So OHT. Will the output be same? Yes, the output will be same. Good. The output will be same. Colon minus 2. As we did not provide any start and step, start and end indexes, I just provided only step index minus 2. By default, it starts in the reverse direction, taking the entire pi thing in the reverse direction. So what will be the output, guys? Go for the guess. Good. N H Y. Keep going. I'm getting the right answers. Keep going. Then just go for a line number 333. 333. What will be the output? Minus 1 indicates in the reverse direction. Yes, we are going in the reverse direction. Starting index is not provided. That means by default it starts at the basic n. And it has to end at minus 1 is the end index. Minus 1 plus 1 is 0. So what will be the output? You will not have any output. Exactly. No output. The reason is this is not greater than, the end index. Guys, if you understand the rules, only then you will understand, the outputs. Only then if you are able to do these slicing concepts. Right. Let us go to the next case. Colon minus 3. So if you see in line number 327 and 333 are same, but the step has been, instead of 3, we used minus 3. So that means in the reverse direction, it starts here and then T will be returned as output. Am I right? It starts in the reverse direction. What do we have initially? N. Minus 1. Minus 1 minus 3 is minus 4. So next to N we'll have T. NT will be written as output. Keep going, guys. Yes. Answer line number 3, 337. 337. -1, step being negative, it goes again in the reverse direction. But where it will start? It is starting at index 5. Okay. So when you say index 5 and end index is not provided, so the entire string will be written as it is in the reverse direction. In the reverse direction. That how can I get the same output is, even if you observe here, I am taking NUT, I am storing NUT in S. I can reverse this entire NUT by just keeping it as colon -1. What does it indicate is -1 indicates in the reverse direction. That means from right to left where the step value is 1. So this entire NUT will be reversed as it is. The output will be TUEN. TUEN. That will be written as output. So here we have experimented with multiple examples. The only focus you should focus on the syntaxes, guys. If you understand the syntaxes for slicing, you can answer any question. I'm telling you, whatever might be the question, you can answer. What is slicing? Slicing means obtaining a range of characters. What is indexing? Obtaining a single character. That makes the difference, right? So we are done with str type. Let us go to the next type in the sequence category data types. What is the next data type we have? It is bytes. It is bytes data type. So what is the purpose of bytes data type? Is bytes data type help us to store sequence of positive numbers. It helps us to store sequence of positive integers in the numbers from 0 to 255 can be stored. A sequence can be stored using bytes data type. I repeat, bytes being part of sequence category data type, it helps us to store sequence of positive integers. Okay, I can store positive numbers, positive integers. But is there any range for it? Yes. Only the numbers should be between 0 to 255. You can store any number, multiple numbers. And there is no actual, proper symbolic notation for bytes. But whenever you want to convert other data type elements, other data type objects into bytes, we use bytes function. We use bytes function for the conversion. And on the bytes objects, we can perform both indexing and slicing. Whatever we have discussed indexing and slicing on str objects, the same concepts can be performed on bytes also. Byte object also. Fine. Coming to the concept of immutable. There is something called as mutable and immutable. Okay, I'll explain you what is this mutable and immutable. Byte is an immutable data type. It's a part of immutable category. What exactly does immutable means is it does not support item assignment. When you are trying to assign an item for an existing byte object, it does not support. So that means once if a byte object got created, you cannot change it. You cannot edit it. That makes byte an immutable type. That makes byte an immutable type. And within a bytes object, you can have unique values and duplicate values as well. You can have both. Unique values are also accepted. Duplicates are also accepted. But you guys might have question on mutable and immutable, right? So let us first of all get a clear picture about mutability and immutability. Very, very important concept. What is mutable? What is immutable? Mutable means we say an object is mutable when it allows us to do changes. When we are able to update the object in the same address within the memory, every object will be stored at a specific address, location. Yes. So within the object, if you are able to make the changes, updations, then such kind of objects are called mutable objects. Some of the examples: list, set, dict. Immutable means opposite immutable, which does not allow to do changes, updations. Those objects are called immutable types, immutable objects. Examples: bytes is an immutable object. Int, float, bool, complex. Okay, we have multiple. Even bytes is an immutable object. Okay, now let us focus on the hands-on related to bytes. Okay, you guys have understood the purpose of bytes, right? What is the purpose of bytes? Bytes help us to store, sequence of positive integers between the range of 0, 256, which means 0 to 255. 0 to 255. Fine. Let us focus on a few examples related to bytes. So let me make it big. Now I hope it is clear. Yep. So this, whatever you see here in line number 347, this is called a list object. It is called a list object. Okay. So what is list? We'll understand. Probably not today, in the next class. So I'm going to come up with a list object. Done. So if you see, the type is list. The data type is list. So this is a list object, and when I say print of NUT comma type of NUT, it will print me the list object along with its type, that is list. Clear? What am I doing? I'm converting this list object to bytes object. Is that possible? Yes. Yes. How? I use bytes function and I can complete the conversion. I'll use the bytes function for completing the conversion. When I say bytes of NUT, what is NUT? NUT is a list object. So this list object will be converted to bytes. Done. If you see, it's done. And if you observe here, it has given me a bytes object. The bytes data type has been used where the size is 5. But do you see the values? No. You are not able to see the values, right? That's okay. I'll tell you the reason behind it. Okay. Next to it, what we are doing in the next line? In the next line, again, I am taking a list object. Okay. With some other values. I see negative values. Negative integers are also part of it. When I say print of list, LST comma type of list, this will print me the list object along with its type, list. But I'm trying to convert this list object to bytes. Will it work or not? Will line number 353 execute or not? It will not execute. Why? The reason behind it is within this list object, we have the elements from -23. That means we also have negative values. Negative integers are also part of the list object. But will a byte data type help us to store negative values, negative integers? No. So this will return me error, exception. See, bytes must be in the range of 0, 256 only. Why are getting this exception? Because of -23. Because of -23. Yes. Fine. Not similar to the other data type objects. In order to access the byte elements, within the byte object, if you want to access the elements, you can do it using for loop, guys. Using loops. Okay. Again, what is loops? What is the purpose of it? What are the different types of loops? We'll be understanding in a couple of days. I need your cooperation for that. So I'm using a for loop to just get the elements, the values present in the bytes object. B is nothing but the bytes object. Yes. So this is the syntax of for loop. For val in B, what is B? The bytes object. Print val. So what happens is, I'll just give an overview of loops. For doing a repeated task, we use loops. Here, our aim is to print all the values present in the bytes object. Okay. So val is a variable which takes each and every value present in this bytes object as per the iterations, and that value gets printed is what the logic says, the syntax says. So let me execute. So a loop has to be executed with the entire lines. Now you see, so these are the elements, the values present in the bytes object. Done. Can we perform slicing and indexing on bytes object? Yes. What is this? This is an example of indexing. How do you decide it? I can clearly understand it. I'm able to access only a single value, guys. I'm going to access only a single value. What is B of 0? B of 0 means 10. B of 0 will return me 10. See. B of -1. If you go in the reverse direction, what is the first element? 255. So 255 will be written as output. B of 2:5. When you say B of 2:5, is this part of indexing? No, this is part of slicing. This is slicing. So when you try to perform slicing operations on bytes, again, it will not give you the results as it is. It will be in encrypted format. You have to use again loops. I'm using for loop to perform the slicing operation. Instead of keeping the entire B, I just keep it as B of 2:5. 2:5. Where it starts at 2 and ends at 4. Because end index -1, right? 4. So this will print the values from 2 till 4. What are the values that we have? At index 2, 45, index 3, 56, index 4, 255. So these values will be printed. See. Right? Now, what am I trying to do? B of 0, okay, is equals to 100. I am trying to perform item assignment. That means whatever the value that we have at index 0 within the bytes object B has to be updated with 100. Will this be supported by bytes data type? No. Bytes is an immutable type. When you are performing item assignment, it will throw you an error which represents bytes is an immutable type. Clear? Right. So this is all about bytes. Let us go to the next topic. It is byte array. What is the next topic in the sequence? Category array types. It is byte array. So let us talk about byte array, guys. Byte array is same as bytes. Byte array is same as bytes data type, but only there is a small difference between bytes and byte array. Let us understand it. The purpose of byte array is similar to bytes, which help us to store sequence of positive numbers, positive integers from 0 to 255 only. Then, if you want to convert any other objects into byte array, we use a function called byte array function. Okay. Then, the only difference between bytes and byte array is byte array belongs to mutable type. Byte array belongs to mutable category types, whereas bytes belong to immutable types. So that is the main difference. What does that mean? Even after creating a byte array object, still I can perform item assignment. I can perform updations. Rest of all other features are same, guys. We can perform indexing, we can perform slicing. Okay, it maintains the insertion order as it is. So the only difference that you observe here is between byte array and bytes, they are exactly same. The difference comes in immutable and mutable nature. Byte array is a mutable type, bytes is a immutable type. This is the only difference between bytes and byte array. Very, very, very important. Okay. So let us focus on a few hands-on examples. What am I doing? I have come up with a list object. So again, what is the list? So on, all your questions with respect to list will be clarified in the next session, guys. Okay, that's not an issue. So I have created a list object and I have printed it and I'm printing it along with its type. Done. So this list object, I'm going to convert it into a byte array object. Is that possible? Yes, it is possible by using byte array function. When I pass this list inside the list object inside the byte array function, it will return as a byte array object. Okay. Here it will return as an error. Why? Because if you observe the values that are present in the list, we also have negative integers -2. But we know the purpose of byte array is to store multiple positive integers between 0 to 255. But -2 is not between 0 to 255, right? Yes. So that is the reason you are getting a value error. Let me go to the next example. No issues, no worries. I have created a list object. Then this list object is what I'm passing to byte array function. And this byte array is being stored in B. Done. See, B holds a byte array object. The type is byte array. I'm going to print B. Along with it, I'm going to print the address of B and the type of B. All of them together. So this is the address in which the byte array object got stored in the memory. Okay. So this is done. Similar to bytes, if you want to access the elements, if you observe, when you say print of byte array object, are you able to see the values present in it? It is actually returning us in encrypted format, right? So, in order to access the elements, the values present in the byte array object, we have to use loops concept. We have to go with loops concept. What is the loop that I'm using here? I'm coming up with a for loop, guys. I'm going up with a for loop. So this is actually the V takes each and every value present in the byte array object B and it just prints the values. That's it. Okay, that is the logic behind the loop. And let me execute the loop together, all the lines. So these are the values, the elements present in the byte array object. Done. Fine. Is byte array a immutable type or mutable type? Byte array is a mutable type. Byte array is a mutable type. So even though if I perform updations, item assignment, it will accept. See, did it throw me any error? No. Earlier, it has thrown me error. The reason it is bytes is an immutable type, whereas byte array is mutable. So let me cross check whether the value at position 0, index position 0 got updated to 100 or not. Yes, it got updated to 100. Earlier it was 10. Now I see the value being 100. Clear? Can we perform indexing and slicing on byte array objects? Yes. So what we are trying to do here in line number 392? I am going to perform indexing B of -1. What is the value that we have in -1 position? 255. 255 will be returned. B of 2. So this will be 100 is at 0 position, 20 at 1, 30 at 2. So B of 2 will return me 30. 30. Then an example for slicing. We are saying that to return the entire byte array elements in the reverse direction. But when you do it in this fashion, you'll not get the output, guys. You'll not get the output. So in case of slicing, especially when you want to access more than one value from a byte array object or bytes object, always recommended is to go with loops. Go with loops, and when you use loops, it will actually traverse along the objects byte array or bytes object and it will print the results, the elements one by one. See, all the elements of the byte array object B has been returned in the reverse direction. Why? Because of the step size -1 colon -1. What does -1 represent? -1 is actually representing the step size in reverse direction. That is why you see the values in reverse order. Clear? Yes. So we are done with byte array object as well, byte array data type. The last data type that is part of sequence category data type is range. It is range. So let us continue with the range data type. Okay. So this is the last one as part of sequence category. So let us conclude this as one. So what is the purpose of range category, range data type? Range data type help us to store sequence of integers. Multiple integers can be stored. But is there any range for it? No. If you go and observe byte and byte array, only the values between 0 to 255 are allowed. Am I right? Yes. But here there is no range. But range comes up with an additional feature, that is, you can store these integers with equal interval. You can store these integers with equal interval, equal step. That can be done. And we can perform indexing and slicing operations on range objects. But coming to the mutable and immutable nature, range belongs to immutable type. What does that mean? Once if we create a range object, it cannot be changed. It cannot be edited. So in short, updations, item assignment cannot be performed on range object. I hope it is clear. Okay. So it is also similar to byte and byte array, but for bytes and byte array, you will have a range fixed. Only the integers between this range you can store any, you can store any number of integers. But for range, there is no range. I mean, there is no specific range. You can come up with any values. But the added advantage that we'll see here is with equal interval, with equal step size. So let us focus on a few examples related to range data type. Okay. So I'll go back to Spider. So within the range data type, again, we have three different syntaxes. The first one says providing only a single value inside the range function. Okay. So this will actually return the values. Okay. It will store the values from by default 0 to value minus 1. Okay. So if you observe here, I'm just taking a value as 6. I'm taking a value as 6. Range of 6. When I say range of 6, I'm going to come up with a range object which helps us means to store the values from 0 till value minus 1. What is the value? 6. 6 minus 1 is 5. So all the values from 0 to 5 will be stored within this range object. And that range object we are storing in R. Done. See, R, the type is range. And how many numbers? 6 numbers. Because from 0 till 5, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In total, 6 numbers. So when you say print of R, comma type of R, so will it print me the range object? The values present in it? Let's have a look. It will not print me the values. Instead, it print me the range function as it is. The type is range. Fine. Then how can I access the values present in the range object? R. Again, the same concept. I'll use loops. If I use loops, this will actually do the same task. It will travel across the range object and this will print me all the values present in the range object one by one. One by one. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Clear? Let me go to the next syntax. Range of start, comma, stop. Start, comma, stop. Instead of just passing a single value, we are passing two values. The first value is start and the second value is stop. So this syntax will store the values from start value to stop minus 1 value. It is also same, but additionally I am providing the start value additionally. If you see here, I am passing two values, 100 and 106. Yes. 100 is nothing but my start value. 106 represents my stop value. So this sequence will stop at 105 itself. Why? Stop minus 1. 106 minus 1 will be 105. So 100. From 100 till 105, all the numbers will be stored and they'll be sent to a variable R. Come on guys, respond to the questions. Print of R comma type of R will return me a range object from 100 to 106. Okay. And the class will be, the type will be range. Yes. So how can I access the values? If I want to access the elements present in the range object, again, I have to come up with a for loop. So these are the list of, not a list. These are the values that are present inside the range object from 100 till 105. Yes. Clear? And finally, the third syntax for range, where we pass, what am I passing? 3 values, start, stop, and step. So what does this mean? This is going to start the sequence from the start value. It stops at stop minus 1 value by maintaining the step value as interval. See, if you observe here, 10, 21, 2, 10 is our start value, 21 is our stop value, and 2 is our step value, right? So it starts with 10, but the next value will not be 11. Okay. The next value in the sequence will be 12. Why? The step is 2 here. In this way, it will generate the numbers till 20, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Did I achieve the max? Yes. So these values will be stored in NUT. When you say print of NUT, you will return the same range object and the type will be range. See. But how can I access the values present in the range object? Is via using a for loop. Via using a for loop, I can access the values present in the range object. So this will return me all the elements present in the range object. 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Good. Can I perform indexing and slicing on range objects? Yes. So NUT of 20, NUT of 0 will return me 10. NUT of minus 3. So in the reverse direction, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. So that means the output will be 16. Can I also perform slicing? Yes, slicing is also accepted. Slicing is also accepted, guys. NUT of 2:5. But this will not actually return me the values. If you want to have a look on the values, you have to go and use for loop. NUT of 2:5 is what I am passing, and this will return me all the values 14, 16, 18. Right? And finally, will range object support item assignment? Come on, guys. Will range object support item assignment or not? Under which category does range fall under? Mutable or immutable? One last question that I'm expecting answers from your side. Range fall under mutable or immutable type? No. Good. Range is a immutable type. right? So when you try to update the values, when you are performing item assignment, it will throw you an error. It says range object does not support item assignment. That's all, guys. And one last important point that we have here is the stop, the start, and the step values that we are using, they should be integer values. Okay. And they cannot be float values. They cannot be float values. They should be integer values only. Making sense? Right. Right. So with this, we have successfully completed sequence category data types as well. Okay. So we are supposed to start list category data types where we'll be doing it from tomorrow. Okay. So the rest of the data types will be covered as part of the next session, guys. I hope the session went well and I assume that all of you have grabbed enough amount of knowledge from today's session, right? If you find the same, if you find that the session went well, hit on the like button and do encourage us. Yes, any questions? If you have any questions, feel free to ask your questions. All your questions will be addressed. It might be technical or non-technical questions. Your questions will be addressed. Thank you so much, guys, for joining and making the session interactive. See, if you are able to interact with me in this way, we can make these sessions to the next level, right? Thank you so much for your valuable feedback, and do share across your connections. Ask your friends, your relatives to learn Python. Okay, so they are readily available on our YouTube, right? So just if they subscribe to our YouTube channel, they'll get all the updates and they'll start learning Python. Questions? Everything clear? Good. So just focus on the hands-on part. Whenever you get good amount of time, do focus on the hands-on so that you'll be grabbing a good amount of knowledge. Because not just attending these sessions, watching them, yeah, you will be grabbing knowledge. But the thing is, when you practice, you learn more comparatively, right? So do practice whenever you get time. My suggestion would be, immediately, at least on the next day, if you're able to do it, for sure you'll be memorizing these concepts. Come on, guys. Any other questions? Right? Thank you for your feedback. You, as a kind of encouragement, do hit on the like button. Encourages. We are coming up with amazing content. We are coming up with next level sessions. We are going to plan in the upcoming days. So, not to maintain them as a kind of motivation, we are supposed to hit on our the like button. Thank you. The feedback link has been posted. Give your valuable feedback guys before you leave. Thank you so much for joining. NUT stands for Next Era United. It's our organization where we do majority of these programs as a service. As a charity, we are doing these programs as a service. So NUT stands for Next Era United. Thank you so much, guys, for your feedback.